I want to stick with something that's well within like the structure and control of the powers that be, and something that is probably really, really complicated. And we've had conversations with people about it being complicated.
Yeah.
But the restrictions on both creators, but even the players themselves, to use their own footage of themselves being successful in this sport across social media channels and YouTube to showcase the beauty of the sport and brag about this sport, but then not being allowed to because it violates whatever rights deals the ATP and WTA have. Why can't Coco Gauff post a sick video of her winning the French Open and put it on her social media without it getting taken down? Right? Why can't we do an X's and O's to show off the beauty of the game and the complication of it without it getting taken down?
Because we're not paying for it.
And ultimately, every other major sport has used the ability for free publicity by creators that they don't have to pay for to not only go to sponsors and say, look, this is how much more our product is shown, you owe us more money, but then also to, for free, grow their game internationally.
How much harder?
It drives me crazy.
How much harder is this? Because you know more about this, and you've worked in sports. I've kind of only been in this sport, and you've worked in a ton of different sports, and football and UFC and everything else. But like generally speaking, there are way less rights holders internationally. Like with with NBA, you go to ESPN, it's like, oh, they can sign off on that. The players using their thing. Now for Coco, is it Tennis TV in the ATP? Well, not Coco with the ATP, but like is it Tennis TV? Is it TNT? Is it backlog of, like, I can't put up a US Open highlight, right? Like backlog of CBS, or was it under ESPN, or was that back when it was USA Network? Who owns those things? Is it WME? Is it IMG? Is it all of these different things? Is it the same problem with every single issue in tennis that it's just so fragmented that everything's a kick in the nuts?
Yeah, I think I listen, the UFC has 100+ rights deals across the globe, and somehow creators are allowed to put stuff up on Instagram. I think really it's about choosing to police it or not, right? And I think ultimately, if tennis just chooses to relax on the algorithms catching things in copyright and claiming these copyright infringements, it'll probably solve a lot of it.
Do you think that? Did you see when I got called an idiot?
Oh yeah, I don't know that story. What was that?
There's a doubles coach who he was basically like, talking about the only issue with doubles is the only thing that's been an issue is like marketing of the players, and he basically was like, he called me an idiot, and then he proceeded to make an argument that makes no fucking sense and is like nonsensical. Yeah. Basically, his argument was like, give like doubles player, like I had basically said, I got an argument with this person on Twitter and then quit Twitter. But I was like, well, go do it then. Like, go doubles player. They should go. I'm like, well, then go do it. Have them get to like and I said, we started a show in our garage.
Yeah.
We didn't have any permission. Like, we got $7,000 in equipment and started. We didn't have a marketing budget. We don't have any budget. Like, it changes, but like, you got to go do it. Mm-hmm. And his whole thing was the ATP won't even let us use our own highlights.
Yeah.
And so we can't go do anything. We can't go start our own podcast or marketing because the ATP. I'm like, fucking really? You think they're going to give non-revenue generators rights to their stuff and then still be able to keep them from Carlos and Jannik and Coco? On what fucking planet does that make sense?
Wouldn't a
but then treat like the doubles players
organization
are the victims because they're not being given their own highlights.
Yeah.
But Coco can't get them.
That's the whole point, right?
That's
it's
the point.
That's the point.
You want to have a special carve-out for people that aren't creating revenue?
Yeah.
Give me a break. Get out of here. And then open up litigation from the biggest Okay, whatever. I'm an idiot.
An idiot.
I'm an idiot. Idiot. Gosh.
Sorry, Joey. What were you going to say?
No, we don't have to go. But wouldn't the sports organization, the association that's half player owned, be more inclined to give its top players highlights for the sake of promoting the sport?
I mean, if I'm ESPN or
not when their most valuable revenue generator is that highlight package in Tennis TV, which is a monster.
Every player gets X seconds a year of if Taylor Fritz and Morgan Riddle,
and it's their thing when they start kind of letting it in. It's just like that's a massive, like, one of the underrated monsters in the tennis world is Tennis TV, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, well, the ATP Media's annual revenue for 2024, not even this year, was $223 million. That was a 10% increase. And that includes tennis TV and tennis TV subscriptions. So and that's just the ATP.
Which I would bet is like, I mean, like significant, like half or more.
Yeah.
I think.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
I would agree with that. But yeah, so hopefully that's a fixable thing. And I think that's an easy thing. And it'd be great for the game. It'd be great for the game to have the best and brightest having the ability to talk eloquently and show case while they're talking about it visually. I think it's a no-brainer for me.
What else, JW?
For winners or for unforced errors?
You choose.
Want to win? Actually, you know what? I'm going to give you my unforced error because it actually fits into this, which is sometimes you make a change and what you realize is this should have been done a long time ago. It's a smashing success. The good of the sport overall trumps any sort of embedded interest. My negative, got a couple. But I'm gonna pass on, the president coming to the U.S. Open was not a proud moment, and the lines for finals, but let's move past that. There were a couple of sort of, I'm going to say these extended 1,000 events.
Hey, Andy literally just wrote that down and circled it. He's
As you started, I had it written down and I started circling it feverishly.
Like we talked to each other.
I feel like that means you and it's less about you and I being aligned than the fact that it's just an obvious one. And I think going back to what you said, had this mixed doubles been an abject failure, hopefully tennis would have had the good sense to say, you know what, we tried something, it didn't work, let's revert. That's what I think a lot of people are hoping for here. Yes, there are contracts, there are rights deals, but this ain't happening. And tennis needs to figure out how to undo this because there's no my joke is like apart from the half dozen events that benefit from this and Netflix, because everybody's bored watching more Eddie Murphy documentaries than they used to because we're sitting around in Cincinnati waiting for 2 weeks.
The Eddie Murphy documentary side note.
Yeah, I know. Hercules. Eddie Murphy, man. We could do a whole podcast on that.
Sherman.
What were we talking about? Oh, yes, extended Master Series events. We got to figure out a way to roll this back because this ain't working, and it's not good for the fans. It's not good for the players. It's not good for other events that are being squeezed out. It's just, sometimes you innovate and take risks and they pan out, and sometimes you whiff, and this ain't happening.
You know when you know that someone knows that it's fucked? Is when someone looked like, yeah, but I know. But I still believe it was well-intentioned. Listen, I don't know if I believe that. If the players don't like it, if like we're covering it and it's like this weird thing where we're putting out a show and it's like a match has been played in it. The number one issue, like let's just be very simple, right? The number one issue that is the most agreed upon thing in tennis. I don't know that you'll find someone who's out there and says, you know what tennis could use? A longer schedule. Literally every person, no matter what your vested interests are, whether you're a dumb show like us, whether you're a player, whether you're a coach, whether you're anything, not a single person's going, you know what? The season's too long. Everyone knows that the season is too long. Inserting 12 days, even if you can fix it in the calendar it creates way less flexibility for players. If you're nursing an injury, if you have to make an adjustment, you're not just missing 1 week. It's just insane. A day of rest or 2 days of rest at a tournament is not the same as a week or two of rest at home while you're training. You have to train to be healthy. You do not train as hard when you're in a tournament because you can't physically do it. I don't know, because I can't get a straight answer from anyone, how long these deals are for, what they've promised whoever for these 12-day tournaments. The difference with the mixed doubles that you mentioned and just putting the toothpaste back in, JW, is that there's no chance that they were going to say, you know what? We don't know. We think this idea will work. We are not sure of it, but we're going to commit the next 5 years to it. They said, let's do it next year. Let's see how it goes. That is not what happened with the ATP schedule, as far as my understanding. And I know we're going to get an email from someone. Be easier for you just to come on and us talk about it. That'd be great. Anytime. Would love to know what we're doing wrong. but it would love for you to put a name to it also.
Yeah, I mean, the justification is going to be, look, the players, X more players are able to enter draws. The draw size got bigger, more players, more earning opportunity. The tournament's benefit.
You just have to wait around 13 days until the next one.
Exactly.
Awesome. Way to go.
It just, the sessions get really thin. I mean, there's some of these sessions and you're like, ugh, could you imagine taking a day off for work for that? And then somebody rolls an ankle and so, I mean, it just is not working. And the players complain. I mean, this isn't you and I mean, this isn't just hot takes. I mean, this is based on conversations, and players don't like it, and coaches don't like it, and fans. I mean, this is just again, we applaud the attempt, but sometimes you gotta roll it back and admit defeat. This is not working.
I was thinking about this the other day. I mean, when you think about other sports, the only thing I can think of in other major sports here in the U.S. that compares to a tennis tournament would be like March Madness. Right, and that goes 3 weeks. There's 64 teams or whatever, 68 if you count the play-ins.
I mean,
but hear me out. That's once for the entire year. They're doing these near March Madness level tournaments like 12 times a year. But I'm just saying it's insane, and it's the same people doing it over and over and over again. I just think, how is that physically better for them?
Do you know why the Super Bowl is allowed to take 2 weeks before the Super Bowl?
No way.
Because it's the fucking Super Bowl.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's the biggest event of the year.
That's what I'm saying.
March Madness is the biggest event of the year.
They do it once.
No one's saying that the slams are too long.
No.
No one's saying that.
No.
But like, someone's got to be Tito. Right?
Yeah.
Someone's got to be Tito.
I agree.
Someone's Michael, someone's Tito.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so.
There's not 9 slams, right?
Like, your biggest events and getting it to a TV audience and like, I'm sorry, is the goal to get it to it? We played a Cincinnati final, and thankfully, it's going to be moved back next year. But like we played an Alcaraz Sinner final at 3 p.m. on a Monday.
Horrible.
Like, and I understand that there were other, I love Bob Moran. I think he does a great job. He's an honest broker. You don't have to like get through the pleasantries. He wasn't happy with us when we said it, and also I think he agreed with us. Like, they moved it back. Mm-hmm. And like Canada and Cincy adding another week for those events together. And their biggest defense of like, hey, listen, we're going to combine these into 3 weeks. I'm like, but we all want the schedule to be shorter. And the defense is, at least it's not 4 weeks like the rest of them.
Yeah,
like
right.
that was, there's just no good defense past like, it's good for us. And it's not dissimilar to the double situation. And as long as we have these opinions that it should be shorter, but just not if it can benefit us directly. We want doubles to be shown to people, but not if it can benefit us directly. Like, we need to actually have an opinion that we believe in that's not self-serving. Mm-hmm. That's the whole thing with the entire thing. I fully agree with you. Had my 12-day Masters event written, circled 17 times, JW. I think that's spot on. One thing that I think is going to be, it's been like a story, and I don't see how it becomes a smaller story going into next year. And it seems like it's all being done kind of weirdly. And I want JW, you normally have a better kind of finger on the pulse than I do for these things, but the players wanting more prize money from the Grand Slams, they wrote a letter. We don't know who's on the letter. Mm-hmm. We hear rumors of a letter. There's a second letter. I can't get anyone to talk about it.
Lots of letters.
A lot of letters. There's a lot of, maybes. There's a lot of, we want this. Everyone, it's definitely unfair, but we're not going to advocate public. Where are we with all this and just level set for context, and I'll get the numbers wrong, but they'll only be slightly wrong. NBA, the players get 47% of revenues in some way, shape, or form. Players at the Grand Slams, it's higher than that?
Basically a 50-50 split.
Okay,
yeah.
So somewhere around there. And then the players at Grand Slams get, I don't know, it used to be 13, 15-ish% of total prize money from Grand Slams.
Maybe a little less.
So based on comps, it's, and no one's saying that tennis players are underpaid compared to anyone else. The percentage of prize money and revenue that they get from the biggest entities compared to other sports and what they get from the biggest entities is crazily skewed to the not benefit of tennis. Where do we stand with this, JW, and like what can actually happen? How long can the slams kind of kick the can down the road?
That's exactly right. And that's the problem. That's always been the problem with there is a huge collective active problem. And if you were going to devise a sport that is sort of least favorable to player empowerment, it would look a lot like tennis, where there's a career window and these are individual actors and there's no union. You're right. We had this PTPA lawsuit that sort of made all these sweeping allegations of collusion and corruption and a cartel.
They were accusing people. The PTPA was accusing people of collusion and corruption.
Mm-hmm. So the federal suit.
And self-dealing.
Yeah.
Okay, mark
self-dealing.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah. Who actually is the PTPA has never been made clear. What we do know is that basically, I was told every player in the top 10, there is this parallel effort that's being done, not in the legal system, but through good faith negotiation. Larry Scott is sort of spearheading this. They had constructive meetings at Roland Garros and at Wimbledon, and Sabalenka and the top players, Casper Ruud, the top 10 members of the top 10 were in the room, and everything's going great, but nothing has been done. And I think where this stands right now, Craig Tiley's status probably plays a role in this. Will he stay in Australia? Will, as rumored, he go to the USTA? That could have an impact here. But I think basically this group of players needs to figure out what is their leverage and what is their appetite to really fight this, because they want something in the low 20s and then graduate it up. Apart from the scant proportion of gross revenue, bear in mind, too, that the majors don't pay into pensions. They're not benefits.
That's a big deal. I've been on that one.
So, yeah, I mean, I think you ask where this stands, and I think basically these top players in this group being spearheaded by Larry Scott, they need to figure out, do they want to take the gloves off? Because
have they tried just saying please?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, exactly. What is your leverage? Is the root of all negotiations.
Participation
going in
is the answer.
Yeah. If they're not prepared to sit out a major, I'm not sure what the leverage is.
And they're going to have a lot of productive conversations in the next couple of years. Is where this lands.
Every sport on the face of the planet is driven by stars, right? NBA had players sitting out and they got in trouble for it, right? And people started the broadcasters started punishing for it. I think the only way you're going to have any effective change is if these players are willing to make it so the TV people aren't getting the TV viewership numbers they get and attendance.
Yeah, and no one
ticket
wants
sales
that, by the
aren't
way.
being done. Nobody wants that.
But like, also, if the slams know that you're not going to do that,
exactly,
then they're going to be very inclined to keep having productive conversations for as long as they can have productive conversations.
Then you retire. Do you see this sterile office environment behind me? If I went next door to my boss and I said, you know what, I think I'm had a good year, I'd like a raise. They say, well, okay, if we don't give it to you, what's going to happen? Oh, I don't know. I'm just appealing to your common sense of decency and fair. But I'm probably not going to be successful. If I go in there and say, you know what, either I'm not going to do the next story or I have a competing offer somewhere else, my odds are probably better. I'm not sure what the leverage is for the players if they're not willing to sit out a major. Simply appealing to the better angels and a sense of fairness of the four majors is probably not a great way to get your wages increased.
We were having this conversation 20 years ago. And also the majors probably know, like, the fact that Australia is starting, no one's going to boycott the Australian Open in 3 weeks. You can't use the French. If you get to the French Open, you can't use Wimbledon because it's 2 weeks later. So basically, once it's done with the U.S. Open and you haven't negotiated it by Australia, it's an automatic reset.
Yeah.
Just based on timing and the amount of time it would take to do it. So like once this year starts, I think that conversation's gone like a fart on a windy day. Honestly, I really do. Like the time where you have to do it is either after Australia, which it doesn't seem like it's going to happen based on like we're not hearing any rumblings of organizing, or after the U.S. Open when you have to have enough time to actually negotiate the new terms. It ain't going to happen between French Open and Wimbledon. Once the U.S. Open goes and we get to October,
I mean, the only thing we are hearing is that that the Australia's Tennis Association is potentially having a stay while they negotiate a settlement with the PTPA. But like that's just like a letter.
What settlement?
It's just another letter, more letters, love letters. But I think that's the question, right? To your point.
Settlement based on what?
I don't know.
I'd like to settle with you. Give me some money.
Luggage tags.
Based
Deal.
Here, Mike, I'm going to sue you. If you don't want me to sue you, just give me money right now.
Yeah. Deal.
Weird. It's almost like we said that they were going to be in it for a settlement. Strange. I feel like we said that. And we were assured that was definitely not the case.